Okay. So we've got the Historic Commission and the Historic District Commission. And a quorum for both. And I believe, so the first item, we can talk about minutes later. So we have a joint public hearing for 24 Maple Street for both demolition delay and a certificate of appropriateness for an addition. So I guess someone should make a motion to open the hearing.
Well, it's their meeting.
It's both of our meetings, so technically.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, sir. Close enough. All right, and then, so this is the 24 Maple Street, and then you talked to us last time. Just try to find the plans you sent.
You did send her to the front.
Yeah.
Something
went wrong.
I was like,
It's left out because the weather was nice.
It ended up being terrible inside.
Which one?
It's very sensitive right now.
yes.
All right, so then I guess, so for the context of the Historic Commission, because I think that's easy, there's just a small little shed outbuilding that would be demolished as part of this project. And I think it's maybe questionable as to its age, but I think it's better to just do a hearing and clear up the process so there's no confusion. I'll try and screen share. Is there a picture or is it just this, right?
Yeah, you can kind of see it on there.
Yeah, I'll try to see the pictures.
That's coming down.
The little tiny building on the far right.
Yeah.
You give me a second to go log into the thing and pull this.
And you have the hard plans too.
I can't search my email.
Yeah,
So that's one, view of it, and that's the other. So it's just this little tiny outbuilding.
and then
Or
so the bulkhead is right next to it, that'll get taken down and moved as well.
This white door.
Yeah,
So that's that, and then from the context of the commission, what you're proposing is a new addition behind the house.
correct.
And I think we talked last time, somewhere, I can find it, there was views of all sides now. Hopefully this is,
Yep,
Yeah, she had emailed us the one of the front.
yeah. So I don't know if people have questions or anything to.
I mean, I don't see how they would do it any other way, you know, because they're putting on this, they're keeping that main building in the front, and in order to put in the big piece in the back, they had to just have that little, I don't know what to call it, the peekaboo up the top.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so this is the front, this top left. Sorry,
That's how it's gonna look from.
this top left is the front elevation, so all you're gonna see new is that little peak of the new roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the second floor has to be raised to stick with code, like ceiling height, which is why it'll stick out above the rest of the house.
Are you going to put a window in the peak, or are you just gonna leave it sided?
I was planning to just, the front facing side, just leave it sided.
Okay. And then I know last time, I apologize if my phone breaks up a little bit, but I know last time we talked about siding and windows and roof pitch and all that fun stuff. And I think you had said
Oh, we're losing you, Deb.
you want to continue, you want to do the vinyl siding on the sides and sorry, it'll come through in a minute.
You were good, and then it started breaking up.
Can you tell us what?
Can you hear? Can you?
Yeah, so for the front, we were gonna do the wood siding, but then do vinyl on the sides and the back. Cause I did like talk to multiple people who said that's the most expensive option you can change is to do wood siding in that. So I figured at least doing the front would be a good compromise, and then the windows, we're sticking with the two panes over two panes. So they're getting replaced,
Okay.
but they're going to be the same style.
Okay.
Or the old window will be the same style, the ones in the back will be,
Same style, but the windows.
yeah.
So the windows, sorry, so the windows will be 2 over 2. I just gotta type notes for this. And then,
So which part
You're
is
gonna do
yours?
clapboard. Are you guys gonna do
Oh, yours.
clapboard, cedar clapboard on the front?
Well, it's somewhere there.
I'll find that.
Sorry, Deb. I did not hear what you
I'm
said.
sorry, Deb.
Are you doing cedar clapboard on the front? Is that what you've established?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Does anybody have any other feedback or questions about it?
I don't think so. I think if I'm missing anything. Just want to look at the historic. Don't go back.
I guess my one concern is the front facing view, and then the shallow pitch of the roof over like the cape style, the cape home that's there now, like that roof that comes down like this. And then
You talking about the roof on the addition?
yeah. I guess that's my concern, is that the pitch is shallow and then there's no window there, and I don't, I get that they're really, I don't know what else you would do aside if you raise the pitch, but then I know that probably costs more money to raise the pitch. And then I thought, well, and then I was trying to think of ways to kind of make it blend, and I thought, well, what if they put a window in there? And I don't really know, and I'm not an architect, right? So I just didn't know if anybody had a thought on that or an opinion.
I mean, my only thought would be maybe, if there was something to try and match nearby, but I don't,
Right.
I mean,
Well, it's a unique setup, so I don't think that you're gonna find anything to match
Yeah.
that nearby.
which one they only have.
The only thing that I could think of is like, putting like a little, like a window in the where the roof meets, right below that. That's, usually you'll find some historic homes with a little window in that niche area, but that's not a make or break for me. I was just trying to find a way to make it look.
Yeah, I'm just flipping through the street view to look at other houses just to see if things have, Would it really make a big difference up there? I don't know. I wish we still had JP.
Oh, right.
I don't know. I think I mean, I think I'm fine with it, if you, oh, sorry, it's good. I'm thing on the screen now, because I opened this. I mean, you're keeping the original house,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
you know, because the alternative that we see all the time from the commission side is that the proposal is just demolish it and build a new house.
Right.
So here's a
Right.
proposal to keep the house, make, you know, put up an addition to make it modern, but keep the original
Yep.
character. So I think, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I agree with you guys. I was just trying to find a way to help make that, you know, that front piece blend a little bit, but I don't know how, you know, aside from popping a window in there, I don't know what else you could do.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the other houses here that, you know, a few of them seem to have like a window in the peak, but I don't know if there's any facing the street in that manner. Maybe this one here,
Fred's house.
Fred's house there you go.
That's a different stuff.
But it doesn't, it's just one, it's the whole front of the house. So.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, whatever. I mean, I think either way, I think it's great that you guys are trying to salvage the, you know, the main part of the house, and I think everybody appreciates that. So, I mean, I'm fine with issuing a certificate of appropriateness. I don't know about you guys.
Fine with it the way it is.
So 2/2 windows match the same style that's there. Are you replacing all the windows, I assume, or just I want to note stuff in the certificate, make sure we're all.
So the 4 on the front, and then there's 2 on each left and right side, and then 1 on the second floor that'll be replaced.
And then the front door, so it's already got a storm door, it's not anything, it's not like the original
Not
door in the house.
no.
Or something like the record room.
No,
And then the siding, so vinyl siding on the addition and wood on the front of the new house, or the existing house, is what we're saying.
Which already has wood anyway.
right,
But just the front, the side of the old house will be vinyl too,
yep,
just the street facing portion.
Yep.
And then I don't know if there's any comment from the historic side of it, historic commission side of it in terms of demolition. In terms of that small outbuilding, it seems like it's probably an addition onto the house at some, but I
don't see any problem with it. It looks like they've come up with some pretty good plans.
I'd say if that's the cost of renovating the house to make it livable. Yeah, I think the shed can go. So if that's the case, if there's no other comments, then we could probably close the hearing. And then I guess, so there'd be 2 motions. A motion from the Historic District Commission would be to, if someone wants to make it, to issue certificate of appropriateness subject to the conditions that we just discussed. So someone wants to make that.
Say what the motion is.
So the motion would be to issue a certificate of appropriateness for this project, subject to the conditions, so the 2/2 windows to match the style. And the front street facing portion of the old house would have wood siding and the rest would be vinyl siding.
I make a motion.
Yeah.
to do all that.
Just wait a second.
I don't think the chair is supposed to make the motion, that's all, but I can, yes, that's fine. Is somebody, what's being recorded? I was gonna say, I'm really
Maybe
taking
you
notes.
should.
I make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness, subject to the conditions with the front facing remaining the wood, vinyl siding on the back, and the 2/2 windows.
I'll second.
Okay, so then all in favor?
I
And then from the Historic Commission, I believe the motion would be that we find that the outbuilding shall not be preferably preserved and no demolition delay be imposed. So, we just say
Yeah.
as moved or something, we have to
Make,
repeat it.
make a motion to, repeat that.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Fine, you just say as, I made,
Make this
So
motion
moved.
and no demolition.
no delay.
Yeah, no demolition delay.
We'll write the minutes, we'll make it fancy.
Right, make it fancier than that.
Intent is there, all right, and then,
I second that.
okay, so then all in favor from the commission?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I think so that's approved.
Kathy Schofield, aye.
Oh, hey, you joined us. So did you, sorry, did you
Hey, sorry
have
about
any
that.
comment before we voted on that?
Nope, nope,
Are you-
I'm good with it. We go for it.
Cool, so I'll submit these, when you apply for your building permit, it will get flagged again, and then it'll come to me and I'll go put these approvals in. But
Okay,
just so you know, don't think that.
I'm
that's
not
the way to
waiting
do it.
for anything.
It'll take a day for me to do it, but like, don't think like, oh, I have to still get approval. It's all automated in the system,
Okay.
but we'll close it out now that we've done this.
Almost step done.
Do you think it's done?
That's the big goal. We're still trying to find a place to put the new septic.
Oh,
So they did a perk test and it failed.
yeah.
So now there's plenty of space in that back lot. It's just finding a good spot.
Seems like everyone, at least on Main Street, that's had to do their septic ends up with a raised system now. Because I think it not, maybe better bar, it just seems like that whole area.
Yeah, but they have so much land in the back, they might not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe there's a better way to go about it for them. Or at least they have room to kind of spread it out, maybe not make it such a hump like everybody else.
yeah. Yeah, it wasn't draining fast enough to meet the state requirements, so. They're gonna go poke around some there.
You see dollar signs.
There's little like neon pink flags where there's, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what
Well, I'm here, so I'll be in a minute.
Okay. And then I think from district, oh good, we have Greta here to follow up on 31 Washington Street. And I can pull the plans up in a second, I'm just downloading them. I think they're requesting a slight modification to move the location of the panels. So if we want, I probably should wait a second, Deb's coming in. Just open these up.
Just waiting.
And, while we're waiting, so the record room project has started. Things seem to be going well. I got the sign, I have to put it in. It sounds like Kathy, they said you were by to take pictures.
Yeah, I'm stopping by about once a week just to see how things are going, and I asked him to give me a call or a text when they start the concrete.
Awesome.
Concrete. All right, so I will be on that.
That would be huge. Yeah, I think so. There was an issue with the footings.
That will work.
Yeah, there's an issue with the footings. They have to do some additional plans, not a big deal. The drawings didn't show the rebar that needed to go in, but I spoke with Mike Petrovic and he's taking care of that. They have to do a sample of the mortar, and then I think the mortar and repointing, but apparently Mike, I talked to Mike this afternoon. Mike talked to Ross. Ross is okay with Mike Petrovic signing off on anything. So once they do it, he'll come out and inspect. So that's good. We're not waiting on the state for.
Yeah, we just need to make a decision on what to do with the room divider that was
Yeah.
up in that room. I mean, I don't see any particular need to hang on to it.
Yeah, so the metal partition that was in the space was demolished. And the question is, do they just toss it in the dumpster or do we want it? It's nothing special. It's a metal partition with glass. It was probably put in, I don't know, 60s, 70s, Kathy?
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
So that, assuming we don't see any need to say it, we'll just tell them toss it in the dumpster. He asked if we need to tell them what color paint we want on the inside. Or if we just want to match the color that's on the wall now. And there's an issue with the flooring. He was supposed to get me a change order, but I haven't heard from them. There's a couple humps in the floor, which I thought was all supposed to be addressed in the plans, but the specs only call for them going to a certain point and then sanding and refinishing. But he needs to go much further, otherwise there's like a huge hump that's not getting touched. The problem is I don't think we have any more money, unless this is like a $600 fix. So once he gives us a price on what that change would be, we'll have to figure it out. I haven't sat down to look at it, but we don't have much more than like $1,000. We have money we'll have at the end, but we're not gonna get it until we close everything out.
Right. Is it like a water damage hump?
Yeah, the floor is very wavy from all the moisture. And I think it's an oversight in the specs, but it, would have raised the cost of the bins, so we would have paid for it one way or another. He did, I don't know if he mentioned this to you, Kathy, he mentioned to me, when this is all done, we need to put a dehumidifier in the basement. And we probably should have someone come look at that HVAC system, which is not part of this, and just, get it working again, but that can come out of our operating budget. But I think we just gotta close this out before June 30th, so.
And we used to run a dehumidifying system in there. It just got disconnected over time, so I definitely think we should definitely take a look at that and the HVAC system.
Yeah, the unit's in there. He was saying, actually put it in the basement. Assuming that unit works, we could do that. And he said, just plumb it right into the pit for the sump pump.
Yeah, that would work.
Because the basement will be much better than it is. So I think that was everything for the record room, right?
Yep.
So I guess we'll have to talk about the flooring once we find out more information. And then, all right, so then skip back. So for district, Sunrun, Greta is here.
Yeah.
And I have the 2 sets of plans, but Greta, if you want to just update us on what you're proposing.
Sure. The homeowner had requested if we could move the ground mount to the left side of the property, a little bit closer to the tree line.
Here's the difference. That's the old plan, and then that's the new plan.
Yeah,
How
so
do
they're
the neighbors
moving it
feel
over
about-
maybe like 70 feet. There still has the, the setbacks at the property line. I think this is better, for the historical, because as you come down Washington Street, there's tree line right there, so you're not going to really see it. And then as you come up Washington Street with the house on your right, the house kind of blocks that from seeing it as well. The homeowner is also going to be putting up some type of, bushes kind of in front of it to kind of block that view as well, as we talked about before. But they're just sliding it over a little bit to the left side of the property. Same system size, same number of panels, just shifting it a little bit.
Why is it that they've decided to move it? Is it because they're getting better sun by moving it? They're getting more hours of sun, or?
I don't know if they're planning on maybe possibly doing more on their property, more in the middle of another project they might be interested in. So they had asked to move it kind of closer to the side a little bit, but it will get the same sun as it was in the other section.
I do think, so if you're coming from the top of Washington in the district, the house would at least screen them from view, like if, so here in the trailers there. But
Right,
you don't really see that part until you're up on the house.
okay.
So I
Right
suppose,
up on it.
and
They have
from this, you
more
can
of
see
a
it
tree
here.
line as a
This is the end of the district,
And do they,
so I don't know.
okay, and are they intending to keep the tree line, or are they gonna take that down?
Yes. Nope,
Okay.
they're going to keep that there. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Do you know what type of a project they're planning for the middle?
I don't know if it's, whether it was for the farming or what they had just, they had, after we had gotten the approval, they had thought maybe moving it over. I said, well, I got to go back in front of the board, make sure this is okay for you to do that before we move forward. So I'm not quite sure what they're planning on doing. I didn't ask that question.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm fine.
I mean, it is what it is.
We can't really,
Yeah.
So I think, do we want to vote on that I don't know, it's probably a gray area if this really needed a formal hearing, but I think it's worth just the commission
Do we can just
just taking a vote
Make
to
a-
say we're okay with this slight update.
make a motion? Or?
So yeah, I would make, somebody should make a motion to amend the certificate to
All right.
allow her to approve this modified location.
You just did it.
Yeah, but I think,
We'll make a motion to amend the certificate of hardship, is what we gave them,
yeah,
right?
whatever.
It is the hardship.
Yeah, and in order for you to move the panels over
As proposed.
as proposed.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Okay,
We're all set?
yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thanks. All right, so that, was there anything else on the?
You still need this.
Oh, you wanna stay here another hour? No. You're free.
She invited you to dinner.
Oh, they ate without me. I had to.
Oh.
Can I come hang out with you? Have dinner with me? No.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't know for district, I don't know if there's too much left. I think there was some items for the commission we were gonna talk about. Maybe we should talk about meeting date, everybody's here.
Okay.
But
Sounds good.
there's nothing pressing, we just wait till the next
Good night.
regular date. Yeah,
Yeah.
would be the 20th. Are we still sticking to that 1, 2, 3, 4th Monday? Is that right now? If you're done with
I'm
school?
good now.
So I
Are
am
you going away?
fine with it, but now every Monday I'll be in Charlton until 6:30. For probably the majority of the summer, which is fine. So if we can, we do 6, 7 o'clock or not? Or I'll just have to meet
Yeah, we could switch. I mean,
teams.
part of me almost wonders if
Can we
we
just
reached
do
the point
these
that these two committees
joint?
maybe should just merge functionally. That actually, Kathy's on that group, it was discussed in the email list.
Right, does it really make sense to be having a separate?
At one point, I had thought it would be worth having members of the commissions appointed as alternates to the others, just so we have, because we run into a problem where Jane isn't a butter to everything, now Kathy isn't a butter to everything
Right.
because Rich bought it all. Ruth has a conflict, so now you're potentially a butter to a few properties because of your niece there, and that one, and so it's just having that room to be able to have more people,
Okay.
I don't think is a terrible thing, and maybe it's worth going to the select board and just saying, hey, I mean, I don't know if anybody formally wants to join, but just, we can appoint alternates to both commissions.
Okay.
I'll do either one, if you
Yeah, or
merge
just
them or.
See in terms of membership, if it makes sense, I'd have to sit down and look at this, if it makes sense to just merge, so they're both 7. I mean, I assume, so in terms of the district commission, we really have 1, 2, 3, 4 members. Maybe 5 if Jane is gonna continue. And then on the commission side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 5 members. Have you talked to Connie, Kathy?
I haven't talked to her.
She's got a lot of family stuff going on.
Yeah, I believe she's not coming back, that she's gonna terminate at the end of June. But Dan, there are 2 other people that I think are good to approach for the district. And I was gonna ask, do we have anyone from the select board that is designated to attend district meetings?
I honestly don't know. I had mentioned it once to Brendan.
Surprise, yeah.
I think he's just,
Probably too much.
yeah, I mean, in terms of them attending random meetings, I'm not sure who that person, maybe if that was supposed to be Brendan, or, I mean, he was way back when we were doing the regulations and stuff, so I'm sure he might jump back in. I don't know if a member of the select board can be a voting member of the district, I'm not entirely sure. They've got some rules about serving on multiple committees
They can.
that aren't, like, unless it's statutory, they're not supposed to, like, they had to do a whole thing for Mike Amendolia to be on Concom and select board.
Right, because
Yeah.
they changed that, about a year ago,
It'd be
right?
nice to get representation from Washington Street if someone else was interested.
I'm fine with
I
this.
don't spend, I suppose Lynn would be.
I'm fine being alternate, I'm fine merging meetings, I don't, you
I
know,
mean, it's, if there's something that's very much one or the other, I mean, I think, some of like what Kathy was setting out about goals and stuff, I think, probably will need both groups to work on if we're serious about another district.
right.
But
Well, let's figure out
either way,
the next meeting date regardless.
do we tentatively just wanna say 7 o'clock on the 24th?
June
At
24th.
least that way, if something comes through, we'll be able to have a hearing on it. And then also the permits start coming.
That's good.
And then it's the first day of the summer stuff, but that should be fine.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to touch on in respect to the district before closing this portion?
I don't unless I know, let me just look at the email Kathy sent. Yeah, unless people want part of the conversation about,
So we were, part of the joint meeting was, we would like to see where we can help out to get the North Ave District project underway. I think we'd like to, I mean, it's not really our goal to set, but, we were thinking maybe the next ATM in 2025. So Dan, sat down and figured out the dates that we would have to have everything prepped for the December in order to make all the public meetings roll out in a timely fashion, to meet with the BOS and the planning board. So we were going to start working on seeing where all the research has gone and see if there's a way that we can assist some of the gals over at the society that are working on it.
So, are we thinking the entirety of North Ave? I would think so,
I think if you're gonna do it, I would, because
right?
there's enough all the way up there, and I think
Right to the Upton line, basically.
pretty much,
Yeah.
unless when the research shows that the property's ended a certain.
And there's
Okay, yeah.
there's at least one property on Powder, what's the name of that street?
Powers.
Powers Road.
Powers Road, that is.
Oh.
18?
Is it that she's emailed Evasion or something is her name?
I don't know, but there is a house up there that's.
Just cause I think she's really interested in some of this stuff too. Let me look up to now.
That area is partially Upton,
Yeah.
partially Mendon, kind of.
So how do you
I-
guys in the district feel about, kind of, buckling in and trying to get this done?
I think that you guys have done a lot of research already,
Yeah, a lot of it's been done.
The key is just compiling, making the list of what we need and compiling it in a document. So you basically need some sort of description of every one of those houses and why it's worthy of inclusion. And then somebody has to write the whole preamble of, why North Ave is important, which a lot of that's been done. So it's really just taking the work that's been done and
compiling it.
pulling it together. You basically could copy all the work that was done.
I mean, I think for me personally, and I obviously am just speaking for myself here, but it would be a matter of saying, okay, on, every month on these specific days, I'm putting in my calendar and I'm gonna meet, X, Y, and Z, and we'll, get our heads into this for an hour at a time or something. And that's basically the only way I'm gonna be able to do it, is if I know ahead of time that everybody's going to be, meeting at this specific time. Cause I have a lot on my plate, so it needs to be set in stone or it's not happening. I won't be able to make it happen.
I don't have any time either. I'm happy to proofread things and help.
I'm happy to,
I can't do the work.
meet at the society and, go through whatever and try and write whatever, but it has to be regimented or it's not happening for me. I don't know about you, I know you were in
I
school.
feel the same, because I just started bar prep this morning, so now
Oh,
everything's gonna be.
No.
Yeah, so like you'll,
Me too.
like, so you're gonna need it in there,
Yeah.
but,
Which I can work with, it's just.
you know, Wednesdays don't work for me.
Is it possible to ask, and maybe Kathy would know more, you know, is the society capable of, our people like just pulling together those
We've been
property
working on it.
descriptions?
We've been
Okay.
working on it. We have a group that's already working on it.
So if we could like maybe get all that in one place and then, like, that's the stuff that I can sit down and compile it if I had access to it. You know, and then we can start reviewing like a shared document. That might be a way to, you know, because I think, I forget the number we came up with, but I think we probably need to have a completed report like in our hands. I want to say that date might have been like December 30th.
Right, because we
In
need
order
to have
to
it.
deal with all the process to get it the rest of the way.
There are people who have certain numbers of houses to.
Yeah. So maybe if we just check in and say, you know, if we could start getting that, you know, those documents all together.
I honestly don't even, I need
Yeah.
like a checklist of what needs to, I don't know, Kathy, if you have a checklist from when you did it prior of everything, or is it through the state, like a
We can make
checklist
one
of,
Yep.
off that
like, we
template.
need X, Y, and Z, all right, let's focus on this, then we'll, you know, get to that point, focus on the next. I had to break it down.
Is it worth setting I mean, I can set up a shared document and just copy in like the
Sure.
titles from the report.
Yeah, and we did do a checklist for the Washington Street District. So with all the benchmarks that we need to achieve, and we can put some solid dates in there. So it's not as, I mean, obviously we can't go loosey-goosey on it, so. And I totally understand what you're saying about, you know, getting a nice solid, you know, foundation of dates so that we can all work from that.
Systematic approach.
Yeah.
I'm just
I think,
thinking about like the way that it would be, so like North Ave. And then, I mean, it would basically be touching that Hastings Street right there, right? So couldn't we just connect it all and just loop it and not even call it North Ave, just have it all one?
well, I think I would call it the North Ave
Yeah,
Historic
we've done
District.
Main Street, so.
'Cause it's a new,
Yeah,
it doesn't change anything, we still do
Right.
all the work, doesn't matter what we call it, that's irrelevant.
okay,
What does the society mean?
We don't have a set plan.
I mean, I'm just looking at
We've
this,
just been, you know, getting together every so often and working on this, and Jane's been busy. With her husband and everything, everybody's been busy.
so, you know, we need, basically write up something about the significance of the district, which again, I think has been done, it's just going through all the work that was
Right.
done and rewriting it. And then, you know, maybe there's some individual districts that want to be added.
is there like a certain amount of characters that's required by the state?
This is like a half a page
Okay,
with a picture. And then another half a page for the 6 Bay Street, like 5 paragraphs.
okay,
But then, so then we have a map and a list of all the lots. So that, you know, we can have that made. So like somebody could, you know, we make a big table that has let me share this.
now are we doing, do we compare that map with like the old map of the
Well, that might-
town
so
in
we, like-
comparison with, cause like,
Yeah, for Washington Street, we listed every lot, the address, the current use, the year built, and we put some
oh,
notes.
okay, it's like a spreadsheet, okay,
And then if you keep going down, now every single house, you have a photograph, and
Got it.
architectural description, and the historical significance.
right,
And some of these have nothing, like if there's a modern house, I think we just skipped it. And in most cases, this is in those inventory sheets.
okay,
It's just a matter of like pulling up the macros entry for 6 Washington Street,
okay,
retyping that, and then maybe there's some blurb about it, or you find out it's so-and-so's house, and then you research that. So it sounds like a lot of this work is, again, I think it's been done, it's just,
done, you've been doing it.
we're getting it together.
yeah,
I think it's every property, and then that's it.
Would it be worth having like a big meeting with
That's what I
the
was
society
thinking.
too, just to figure out what is left that hasn't been done yet?
Yeah, if we just made, I mean, I could make a list and we can check off, you know,
So not double.
check off what properties
Right.
are done.
try and be efficient.
Because I think, isn't that what we did, isn't that what you guys did last time, you each took a chunk of houses? Kathy?
Yep, that's exactly what we did. And that's what they're doing right now. The society has
Yes.
kind of broken it down into groupings.
Yeah.
So,
Well, maybe-
but we can get an update for everybody as to what the status is on the research.
Okay,
When I have some time, I'll make a shared document and then we can at least have a list. And keep it track in one place of who's doing what,
Perfect.
might at least help them. And then I think at some point we should probably consider another hearing to review design guidelines, but that might be a project for the fall.
right.
I think, did I send an email or did I draft something about guidelines?
I don't think it's.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I've been keeping a running list of every time we
Yeah.
come up with
I
something,
think
say, oh,
you've
this is
been,
wonky, we
yeah,
gotta figure it
you
out.
have notes in there for sure. And then I do have one more thing to bring up. Does anybody want to record secretary for the district?
I think both committees, somebody's gotta take minutes.
I don't wanna. Okay.
They don't have to be super detailed,
I think
right?
it's
No.
ridiculous that.
They have to have a specific vote.
Like just like a bullet point of what we
It
covered.
has to have,
and calling
yeah,
it.
attendance, it has to have the clear
Who
vote.
called what, yeah.
And then it has to have a brief summary of the discussion. So this can just say the committee discussed creating district on North Ave and it's gonna follow, like, this doesn't have to be word for word transcription.
Okay, I mean, I don't mind doing that.
You could be taking notes.
Yeah, I
I
have
can
this
send-
down anyway, so that's easy.
Examples of good ones,
Yeah, so if I just have one example, I can model it off of and
like
that's
the
easy.
ones that Diane will be used to do. For the select board.
Well, don't we have some online?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but like.
Oh, they all posted on the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And some of them are
Yeah.
crap. Like if you go look at the really old select board minutes, like 2012.
They had like a
2013,
different format.
Those, Diane Willoughby did those, they're like phenomenal. You know, members discuss changing the name of this to this, blah, blah, blah. And then here's the formal vote, Selectman Goddard made, Chamantinio stepped down to second, you know, so that has to be there.
There's, wasn't there like a different format for the
And I have a template. with it.
template? Sorry.
It's just a, yeah, just
Okay.
a cover sheet. I mean, even like James was just doing it and sent it to me and then I was
They were input.
copying on
Yeah.
the sheet.
Okay, we can do that if you want.
Yeah, that's a problem that we probably do need to get caught up.
It just blows my mind that like we can just like use the recording and call it a day.
I'm surprised they haven't come, but even the remote meetings is still,
Cause that's even better than minutes.
I think it's still an emergency order that they keep extending. I don't think they've actually come up with a new guidance on public meetings. Because they don't seem to want to make a decision. When, you know, whatever they end up deciding. Yeah, no, they have to be on acid-free paper with permanent ink and this whole, oh yeah.
Just like, let's get the finance guys. Okay, so I think we're good then to end the district meeting, 7:45. And we have our
Alright, then.
date and everything, so we're
Commission and a few other things. You know, if anything else comes up.
sure.
Where do these recordings get posted? Is it on
The
the website?
videos are going on YouTube.
Okay,
And so if you go through the website, it's linked, there's playlists that are linked.
okay.
So you'll see on the, like on our website, it'll say, click here for archived historic meetings,
Okay, I'll find it, just curious. Cause if the
but usually about a week. behind.
typing it up starts tonight for me, I just need to go back and rewatch it then, just to like get everything correct.
Well, we do get, I can send it to you, there's like a recap, there's AI, so like we have a transcript. It's not great, and there's like an AI recap, but it doesn't do well with everybody in the room. If we're full remote, it actually does really well.
That's fine, I can just watch the recordings, I found it.
So, yeah. And I'm usually about a week behind and then it's posted.
Thank you. A little sticker.
Yeah, that's cute.
Alright,
All right, and then, so that's it for commission, or district. Commission. Kathy sent this out, a list of projects.
oh, I
guess.
take a motion to adjourn district at 7:47.
Second.
Second. Oh, just kidding.
All in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's great.
All right, and then,
Do you guys need an alternate for commission tonight?
No,
Okay,
the commission is actually in okay shape, it's the district that's really tight.
okay, alright.
They're basically operating like this is the core, that's it.
But won't come June be the same case if Kathy steps down?
Right, so the historic commission currently has 6 of 7 members. Of those 6 members, one of them is Connie, who hasn't been attending. Otherwise, we have 5 members. The district commission currently has, 1, 2, 3, who has 5 members. And then of those 5, we gotta find out if Jane wants to continue. But we have 2 vacancies.
I don't think Brendan can.
And then the risk with district is we very likely could have a hearing that Kathy legally can't participate in,
I know someone has
so.
indicated that they might want.
Who?
Well, I don't wanna say because I don't.
Yeah, drag them into it, no. I mean, that, if there's outsiders, that's even better, the more, I think, getting more people helps than having it just be the same people. But at least if we had some alternates, then if we were in a pinch, we could have a hearing. Because we have, both commissions, we have statutory deadlines, and we don't respond within so many days, things get approved. So,
What's the downside of merging?
I think it could, it just means some people are there for things they didn't, if you aren't interested in one or the other, might be more work, if, like when we had all those endless, demo hearings that really have no bearing on the historic commission, district commission.
Right.
But now we're in 3 nights of inventory hearings. Hopefully that was a one-time thing, but, I don't know.
Well, I think I'll make my departure. I'm gonna go home all day. Like, driving back from Charleston, like, I see on my phone, like, oh. But yeah, so from now on, like Mondays, I might have to be like partial
Okay.
on Teams, and then I'll make my way in. Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Kathy, did you want to talk about these, or do you want me to go through the thing you sent for the other projects?
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to unmute my microphone. You can go through them. We can just read through them real quick and.
I mean, some of them I know a little more than others. So the Bignell Cemetery thing we talked about, that's stalled out. We need to get some updated prices. We've got the money. I think, like you said, we contact Raza, see if they can update their proposal, if they can do it, and then maybe ask Clifton if he's interested in it. It'd be nice to close that out. The window replacement, I did have a conversation with somebody, Mike Goddard maybe. I think that's gonna need to wait for a new town administrator. Unless one of the select board wants to push it, I don't think Greg is interested in new projects at all. I think he's really just trying to hold down the fort.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they did it, and they did have candidates. They did a couple rounds of first interviews on Friday, Saturday, so maybe we'll get some there. But I think it seems to me we need to just follow up. Assuming we want to continue, we should set up a meeting with that architect. And maybe that's something that could happen if the select board tentatively said, they're okay with him proposing something. We could schedule a meeting and have him come in and, we have the money to pay him. It was CPA funds that was awarded. And I don't know what mumbo jumbo they want to do in the back of the building, but I don't care about that. My concern is the windows and it's the windows and doors in this building. And then I think maybe the gutters, Kathy, could be part of that. On the exterior.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, in the library, yeah.
Exterior facing things. Cause that's all CPA eligible too.
Mike be the architect?
What?
Mike, is he the architect?
No, so Kim actually found this guy, Connor something. And we kind of were like rolling our eyes, whatever, but then we had a meeting with him and he was really good. His wife is on some historic thing in the town they live in. He actually had a lot of like really good things to say about different options. They were, something about this back hallway they wanted to do. which I don't see what that portion of the project was. I think that needs to come from the select board if they want to pursue it. That's not a historic matter. Because the deal with the windows is they would be replacements. So it's just a matter of proposing something that matches what would have been there and then getting the state to sign off on it. But they're gonna want all sorts of drawings and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay, so that's why you need the architect.
Yeah, and I think it's a complicated job. Every one of these windows is gonna be a custom window and a funky size and probably need special, make sure structurally it's okay to swap out. And we need a project manager, as we've learned.
Right.
And we need somebody who's gonna handle this project, even though we'll probably pay for that. We can't do it ourselves.
Are we going OPM?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, kind of like what Mike's been doing for the senior and the record room at the senior center, just somebody, they're talking to the contractors, they're signing off on the things, they're inspecting the work.
Okay.
Um,
We have money for that?
well, so I believe we have $40,000 for engineering, which was to prepare the proposal.
Yeah.
Because I think at the time we were considering maybe even writing another one of these grants, although I did not. I'm all set with those for now, personally, but,
Yeah, I wonder why.
the CPA can pay for all this though.
Mhm.
It's eligible historic,
Uh,
because I think the window replacement's gonna be expensive.
I don't think so.
And what did you say, Kat? There's like 40 windows?
Yeah, and weren't we looking at like 200,000 plus?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a big price tag. So Dan, how do we get the name? How do we
I
get
have
Connor?
his info.
You have Connor's last name. Excellent.
Yeah, because I sent it back because Mike brought it up and then I sent it to him like 3 months ago, but then of course I'm sure they didn't do anything with it. But I think from capital planning, he's interested in it.
Oh, good, good.
I just, maybe the select board would be okay with us making contact with him to talk about the windows. I don't know. I don't think Greg is gonna want to get involved right now.
Yeah, and you know what, to be honest, based on how long it took to get an answer, I think we're gonna have to start with Connor early and kind of ease into the project, give him some time.
Yeah, well, I think if we deal with him directly, things will work better. Let's just.
Yeah.
And this has to go by town meeting, right?
Ultimately, it will.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe that's, I don't know if we have time, that's something people weren't available, maybe that's something to bring for an agenda, item to the select board, to say, hey, are you okay with us pursuing just moving forward the windows and doors portion of this? Is there more work that you want to include in this?
Yeah.
And if so, who's gonna be involved? And once we get a few more, like another month out, I'll actually have some more time to attend select board meetings. Right now. Elena is the chair also, if you didn't know that.
Right. Brenda.
That just changed.
Yeah, if you're organized. And then, so that's that one. The scenic road bylaw, I think Kathy, you would say to potentially target the November town meeting.
How do you feel about that?
My only concern is I wonder if the administration would rather see it wait till the annual.
Yeah, based on whatever we're gonna propose, depending on how, extensive it is, I think that's a good idea. I'm sure they're
Seems
gonna
like-
push it. But you
Yeah,
know what,
it's-
Dan, Brendan Chanel was inquiring
Yes.
about it as well. Why don't we try to work with him on when to do it?
Yeah, we can ask him for his thoughts. It sounds like it's what we want to do is achievable. And I think from the conversations I've had with Isabella, some of the things we were concerned about in terms of clear cutting are actually already the law, or things that could be enforced by Concom making policies that they would enforce, which they seem to be more open to doing.
Yep.
So I think this is not as horrible of a project as we thought. And then the other good news is Eric Hodge was elected to the planning board.
Right.
So I think now we have somebody on the planning board who will at least grant us an audience and talk about this.
Yep.
Um,
So Christina, you had given us a couple of links to take a look at, and I shamefully have not done that yet. How much of a lead do you want to be with this particular project, or should we? I mean, do you not want to, not get in too deep?
So as far as timeline, when you say pushes to the annual meeting, is that next May?
That'd be next May.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's definitely doable for me. It's just like now through July, same with like our previous historic conversation about like making North Ave district. I would just need definitive timeframes just because I'm in the midst of bar prep now. But
Yep.
if we have plenty of time, then that's no issue for me. That can be right on my agenda a little bit later.
excellent. All right. So maybe if you can give us some direction as to what
Yeah.
you think would be a good proposal, kind of highlight what you think is going to be more effective than, what we've got. That would be
Yeah.
great. And put us
Because
to work.
Dan's printed for me a piece of whatever the X number of pages was that I was gonna comb through and kind of highlight what needs to be redrafted, because what I've looked at, basically, there were just, from the very quick glance, there were things that just needed to be rephrased to be more effective from what I saw, so that can be one part of it. And then I think the second piece of it is just breaking down exactly what we want for like the scenic road piece of it, or like Stonewall piece of it, or just whatever the goal is, and like the direction that we want it to write, and then I can draft it from there.
Perfect. All right. That sounds
So
great.
I would just need more of like sort of like a bullet point outline of what we look to achieve, and then I can just draft it. Do you know what I mean?
So maybe people take a look at it, and then maybe at some point we should invite Isabella to a meeting, or just, have you meet with her and go through some stuff, because I know she had a lot of thoughts on things.
Yeah, that would be great to loop her in, because she probably has more insight or direction to get right where we want to go then.
And then I'll email Brendan and ask him what his thoughts are, if this is something we should try for November, and see what he says. I mean, I think sometimes there's a push to hold this bigger things off, but I don't know, I don't look at this.
Even November would work for me, it's just,
This
I was
isn't
thinking if it
huge.
was immediate in the next like month or so, was gonna be a tight stretch for me.
No, Christina, start tomorrow. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if we targeted November, we probably would need to have a draft by probably early September.
Okay, that's still fine.
That's probably when they're gonna start, the warrant probably will close in mid-September, and then they're gonna want everything, 'cause it's gotta go to council,
Yeah.
and then they'll have to talk about it. So that would probably be the deadline for that. Next annual, we probably would have until March, in terms of having language, maybe even a little later. But again, I don't think this is a major change, it's not like a whole new bylaw. It's just cleaning up an existing bylaw and having it do what we kind of already thought it was doing, for the most part.
Yeah.
At least, I'm sure not everyone will see it that way, but that's how I would see this. So that's that. We talked about the district. We didn't talk about signage for the historic district. I know that the district has talked about that a bunch, and it kind of gets talked about and then it falls by the wayside. That might be something now with John Dudley at the helm, that maybe we could renew that conversation with them.
Yeah.
Whether we're just, maybe we're just taking over their memorial flag locations in the off season. So they're just swapping out one for the other. That
Yep.
might be simple. I think at one point we priced out signs, but then it was a matter of installing them. And the whole thing kind of stalled out.
So Dan, do you have examples of what the district had looked at for potential
Yeah.
signage?
Not handy, but I do.
If you have time, would you mind circulating those, and maybe in the June meeting, we can find out, because we did set aside funds for that, didn't we? The commission did.
I think I think we earmarked annual budget funds, but we didn't spend them, so if we didn't spend them,
They're
they're gone.
gone. Okay, that's too bad.
But I think we could just, if we have, we have $3,000 and if there was a one-time request for sign, like if we just wanted, $7,000 for signage, I think that would probably be reasonable at town meeting.
Yeah,
Those small projects, as long, people seem to support. Especially if there's free cash and if we had something to bring in, potentially even in November, and I like your other comment about these other signs. It'd be nice to go through and inventory these properties and look at signs that can be put up. I mean, that could be a good scout project, but. sometimes
definitely.
are.
Yeah, so if you guys are driving around, you see a historic district sign that you think looks really cool, take a picture and we'll start investigating.
I don't know if you were involved with this, so there's some sort of a civics project going on at the school, because we've had a few people reach out. I know somebody reached out to the society about cleaning stones. This is the kind of project that would fit. Like, I don't know exactly what they're doing. I haven't quite figured out who the teacher is. But if you could give them like some ideas for projects, like this would be such a good project for kids to go around, pick a location, research and design the sign. And then all we do is, order it.
You could have BBT do it, the graphic design department.
Yeah, they do it well. They have a shop. I had a really hard time getting them to respond or anything. Like that's been our experience. But they'll make the signs. Sure. It's like research that has to happen. And then the thermometer for the fire station. I actually had a conversation with Nick Erskine the other week and it came up totally by chance. Supposedly they have it and it's in there, and I think we might need to have a conversation with the chief. I don't know. I think we might need to provide some pressure if we really want it installed outside. There seemed to be some concern about it was too big, or it wasn't winterized, or it wasn't like weatherized to be put outside, and they were concerned about where to put it.
What's it for?
So years, I don't know if I have a picture of it, there was a huge thermometer on the side of the old fire station.
Oh my God, yes.
So they took it
Okay.
down, Dick Skinner
Yeah.
actually cleaned it up and replaced the glass,
Yeah.
and it was supposed to get reinstalled, and I believe it's sitting probably up in the attic over there. And again, we have the money, we could, hire a sign shop for $1,000 to put the thing up. We just need to get it all coordinated.
So if it was
So-
outside, or why are they saying it's not?
Oh, outside would be the best place.
I don't know, I think maybe it's worth, again, maybe he can come to a meeting, the chief or whoever, and just say, and maybe he can go somewhere inside too.
I just feel like explain how it lost its
I know.
weatherization.
I kind of got the impression that maybe they didn't necessarily want it on the new building, and I don't know, I haven't seen it, I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah,
Historic, relic.
I think that's a little short-sighted, because then where is it gonna go?
Right.
You know? I mean, it should really go back to its origins.
Where was it on the building? I'm
It
trying
was
to-
over that door, I'll find a picture of it somewhere. Hang on.
Oh my God, yes, when you just said that, I'm like, come on.
That green was a green wood door. And that was,
Yeah.
and it was up there.
How long ago was this? That it was up
It's
there?
always been on that building, so I don't know.
Really?
I don't know its
Oh, yeah.
history. Do we know its history?
It came from the Milford National Bank.
Okay.
When the Vincents were,
Oh.
Shelley Vincent's family was, I guess they were very involved with Milford National, and they gave the sign to the town.
Okay.
So they just don't want that. That's what-
Well, I think
That's exactly what happened.
I think they just have a massive list of projects, and it's like not even in the same, but I feel like we need to say like, listen, we're prepared to, we'll have it done tomorrow.
Right.
Just give it to us and, tell us where you want it and confirm the location,
Yeah.
and you don't have to worry about it. And maybe that's the way to approach it.
Mhm.
Well, you know what, Dan, I'm rather shocked.
Maybe
Sorry.
I said, maybe somebody just we need to either talk to them and say, hey, you know, are you able to come to a meeting and.
Yeah, I don't understand where this all generated from because I've spoken to Dave Kersey. We went out and picked a spot for it. Most of the holdup in getting this up has been, you know, the town hall campus restoration. But Dick Skinner, I think in his frustration is ready to take it back. He sent me an email a couple of months ago and I've just kind of put it on the back burner. I mean, I would hate to see it, you know, go somewhere else.
Argue it's town property, so it's not going anywhere else, you
Yeah,
know, that's whatever. No, I think, so maybe we should reach out to the chief and just say, hey, you know, just checking in, you know. Can we?
yeah, I'll talk to
So
him.
maybe, I don't know, maybe Nick was misinformed, you know, I don't know. It came up in passing and he said something about, oh, they weren't sure where to put it. So I don't know.
Yeah, a bunch of us had gone out and picked a spot and said, oh yeah, that's gonna look great there. And I just, I don't know, it's kind of strange. Yeah, I'd also like to see the firebox go back on the original building, but
Yeah,
I'm
well,
afraid that was,
we should have a chat about that someday then.
yeah.
Um,
So I'll contact the chief and just check in and see what's going on.
Oh, yeah, so if you don't mind doing that, just let them know, like, we could pay for it, like, just tell us where you want it, Karen, you know, Signs Plus will install it.
I think, Dan, the way we had set it up when we did the police station renovations was that was to come out of that budget. So,
Oh, you can ask him, I just, you know, sometimes these things get held up because we're gonna argue over $300, so
oh yeah,
who
definitely.
cares? Although it probably costs about $1,000 to have installed properly, but you know. Life is too short to argue over stuff like that,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, you know, because that project unfortunately is probably closed out, they probably don't have access to any funds from the project budget.
Yeah.
But maybe he has a surplus at the end of the year that he's willing to, you know.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Uh-huh.
We'll get to the bottom of it.
It'd be nice to get that done.
Yeah.
And then, completion of the record room, we talked about that. So I think if you're able to, if you and whoever else, maybe Lynn or somebody, if that final report.
Yep, we
um,
will work on that.
That would be amazing. We already, we do have, we maybe should vote on this. Something I just remembered. So we got the first invoice from them for $33,750. It is for general conditions, site mobilization, project management, material procurement, the foundation work, all the forms, and site prep and excavation work in the basement. Mike Petrovic reviewed it and said it's okay, or, you know, he approves it. So if we're all good, I would suggest we vote to process this, because the sooner we get them paid something, we can start the first reimbursement.
All
Because
right, so I move to pay the first invoice from what is it,
JJB Enterprise.
Yes.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then she just said the invoice from Signs Plus was $330 for the sign. So I would, if maybe we should vote to pay that, and I think that would just get paid out of the town budget.
Just $330 to make that sign.
Yeah, 4 foot by 4 foot.
It's so crazy.
You know what, the thing with her, they're not cheap. But they're really good because they work good.
Okay, I'm not questioning it,
No, no.
just like the cost of a sign.
They're
is like,
expensive. You probably could have ordered this same sign online and gotten it for about $200.
I'll have to go.
Probably.
But you would have had to do all the
Perhaps
designs. You know, she does all the designs, so it's good for that stuff, but yeah.
It's just so crazy.
It is.
So. If we're okay with that.
Yep, do you want a motion?
It probably wouldn't hurt since we're here.
All right, I move to pay $330 $30 to Signs Plus Milford for the sign.
In favor?
I,
All right, I will do that. And then I think that's everything, right? Mother,
Who seconded the motion?
I did, Debbie, sorry.
Deb. Hi, Deb.
Hi.
yeah, and then I guess, I don't know if he needs, how soon he needs an answer for us on the paint color. We should think about that.
Yeah,
I don't know what would have been historic in that building, or if he
What
just
color's in
matched it.
that now?
I couldn't tell you.
Kathy, when you going over there again?
I usually stop in during the week. You can go over it anytime. And they'll take you for a tour inside.
It's kind of, well, yeah, it'd be better to. I
It's a
would
cream color. It's
Schedule.
nothing fancy.
Let me know if you're in the area, we can.
Like keeping with a neutral would be best.
You're just gonna dig it up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and our next meeting was gonna be a tour of all these places. So who's up?
Me.
We should go over there
Around
today.
town.
Do it.
So if you guys want to email me with your availability, we'll pick a day that works for everybody and we'll go prancing about town.
Yeah.
All right. Deb, you drive.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'll get a microphone.
Make our own trolley ride.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I do drive a Volkswagen though, you should know that.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Well, we can take the town's electric vehicle, right, Dan?
Probably smaller.
The clown car, right?
It's not terrible.
No.
It's, I mean, it's small, but.
Kathy, I have a question for you.
Fire away.
Okay, it says that you're renewed till 26.
Who said that?
It's on the website. On the website, so
Oh, you're stuck.
Let me look.
you're stuck,
No taking it back.
Do they take a vote?
It's interesting, it's automatically.
That would be the handiwork of Ellen Argo.
Oh, it's last year, so it's a 3-year term, so it's 2023, so it's 24, 25, 26. So you're up in 2026, that's your term.
She was up in 24.
But now it's changed.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was ever 24.
Wasn't it
It
24,
was
Kathy?
24.
Yeah, it was
I asked her last
24.
time.
Yeah,
Cause I'll ask Ellen, but Ellen usually updates if they vote, but
yeah, it was 24, because I looked
Yeah,
at
yeah.
it and I panicked, and that's when I asked her, and then I saw it change, and I was like,
Because last year.
well, you're 26 as well. So why don't they, let me look at
You're
that.
24, Dan.
Yeah,
I need to have a conversation with Ellen.
well, I tell you to look at the select board minutes, but they, so,
You're
Oh,
renewed.
God, yeah.
yeah.
yeah, I understand.
Well, who knows, they haven't approached anybody, and the person who would do that left, so I don't know who's hitting the appointments.
We done.
Laura resigned,
I know,
Yeah.
she went to Orleans, right?
so they got a job posting. Hoping they'll get somebody.
Huh?
We should talk about that, not in the
Right.
meeting.
But that doesn't hold up you renewing though.
No, it just means somebody has to do the work.
Oh.
And compile things, so I don't know who's in charge of that. But apparently, we learned this, if your term expires, you just continue to serve
Right.
until you're replaced. That's what town council brought up with a lot of these things. It's not like an elected seat where on the day after the election, if you didn't get reelected, you were out the door.
Right,
These kind of appointments are a little bit different.
it's kind of like your lease fee,
Yeah.
month to month,
Right,
in the historical commission.
yeah. So, you have to go back and vote it, but anyway.
So I'm gonna bounce off now. I'm actually trying, my dilemma tonight, I'm trying to capture an injured cat that keeps coming to my house.
Oh,
Dinner is at 6:30. He arrives every night at 6:30 for something
there
to
you
eat.
go.
Aw.
Do you have a cage?
Oh, yeah, I try to
Oh,
have a heart.
Okay.
Clever. He's very clever. So right now I'm using a laundry basket, a pop-up laundry basket, and I'm trying to get him to go in so that he will eat. And then in a couple days, I'm going to spring it up. He doesn't know this yet, but
My God.
oh my God, the poor little thing. It's been weeks of trying to capture this cat. So yeah, he's adorable. He's so
How
cute.
color is it?
What's that?
What color?
Gray and white.
Okay, because there was an orange one that was spotted, an orange tabby that nobody knew.
Oh,
to.
oh, I remember the orange.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a lot of them out there. I've captured cats and possums in my quest. So, there's a black cat that used to come here all the time. Oh man, was he mad. Like, all right, you can go. Crazy stuff. But yeah, so I'll cut out now, but if you guys want to email me what your availability is, that would be great. We'll set up a date to go bounce around town.
terrific.
All right.
All right,
Probably include coffee and lunch too.
good.
All right,
Thank you
excellent.
so much.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Bye, buddy.
So,